Hello viewers, my name is Pashak Jan and you're welcome to another video. Are you a business owner or an employee? Do you have troubles with communication? Do you feel like you always say the wrong things when communicating with your colleagues or your superiors at work? If the answer to any of this question is yes, then today I'll be talking about 7 ways to effectively communicate how you feel. Now this could be to your partner, to your colleague, to your superior, to somebody who is inferior to you at work. It could be to just anybody. Communication is a constant thing in our day-to-day activities. So stay with me and we'll go through all of this. Now let's assume you're a boss and you assign an employee a task to perform and they go ahead and do something different from what you expected. Instead of telling them you never listen, right? You could say, I feel like we are not on the same page. Can we try again? Now, when you do this, you do not condemn the person. You let the person see that, okay, I have a different opinion. What I asked you to do was totally different from what you did. So now can we try again? Then you explain it to the person, and hopefully, if the person pays attention well enough, they would give you what you expected, and they will do better. That way, they walk away feeling um, better than if you had totally condemned them, like you never listened. Number two, I don't have time for this. You're at work and your superior gives you an assignment or a task, and you have a lot of backlogs already. Instead of saying I don't have time for this project, what you can actually say is on a deadline. Can we prioritize? I'm on a deadline. Can I focus on doing so and so tax, XYZ tax instead? This way you don't dismiss the person by making them feel like what they're asking you to do is irrelevant. This could also apply in relationships, in friendships. Does not only have to be jobs. Now, number three, you are so lazy. Instead of saying you're so lazy, which is a very negative compliment at somebody, um, you can say, I've noticed you're struggling with motivation. How can I help? I have noticed you're struggling with motivation. How can I help? Now think of it, you're the person, and I gave you an assignment, or I asked you to clean up this office, and I come back 2 hours later, and you've not done the job, and I will be pissed quite already, right? I have every right to be pissed, especially if I am your superior, because I intentionally and clearly probably told you you should clean this office before I get back, and I get back and I meet the office dirty. I have every right to tell you you are so lazy. But the fact that I have the right to tell you that does not mean that I should tell you that. You get? So what I should do is I would ask you, I have noticed you're struggling with motivation. Can I help? Now this way I allow you tell me what is it that you're struggling with that hindered you from doing the task I assigned you. It could be something emotional, it could be psychological, you could be going through a bad day, and whatever it is, maybe you're having your own issues. That's why. And that way I I I indirectly ask you to open up. And if you're not really ready to open up, then I can find a better way to tell you, please do this work now. So you could communicate better at work instead of saying you are so lazy, or you are a lazy co-worker, or you're a lazy employee. You can call this employee in and say, I have noticed you're struggling with motivation. Can I help? Number four, this is your fault. Instead of saying this is your fault when something goes wrong between you and a second party or third party, I think, and I believe strongly and advise strongly that you should learn to say, I think we both contribute to the issue. Let's work together to fix it. Now, this is a very important thing because I've learned that there's no issue where one person is only at fault, where only one person is at fault. Every issue has two people at fault. Even a broken relationship where there's divorce, where two people are decided to go apart. If both of you decide to be honest, no matter how little it is, one person might have contributed to the problem you have at hand. And one of the best way to resolve such issues, a therapist will advise you is to own up to your own parts of the mistake. But this is not therapy session and this is not a divorce case. So you're having issue with someone you love or someone at your workplace, instead of saying this is your fault, you should understand that maybe I did not explain this to you very well. That is why you went ahead to do the wrong thing. Or maybe I kept the bucket on the way, and while you were coming out of the room, you didn't see it, and you hit it with your leg, and the whole thing poured down, and the everywhere is everywhere is watery now. The whole floor is. I have to mop. So instead of, and maybe I have to mop the place, and that would mean I have to be late for work. Instead of saying it's your fault, you kicked the bucket. Maybe I was wrong to have kept the bucket here. This is just an example. So instead of saying this is your fault, which is going to make the other person feel bad and most times defensive, one thing you should say is, I think we both contribute to the issue. Let's work together to fix it. Now, what this does is you're coming together as a team. When you say let's work together to fix it, you're coming together as a team. You're winning this person over and not pushing them away. Do you get? And that's one important law of communication and how to win and influence people. I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining. That's number 5. Let's say you're having a conversation with somebody and he says, why are you arguing? What are you arguing about? And you just say, I'm not arguing, I'm just explaining. A better way to communicate would be to say, I understand we agree. Let's find common ground. Let's find common ground. And finding the common ground in conversations always has a way of smoothing conversation. This is something I observe. Whenever I'm communicating with people, I always know when the person is trying to find a common ground between me and the person. Maybe first they start to talk about sports, okay, and they want to talk about sports before they bring in the most complex topics, okay? So instead of arguing or over explaining yourself, you should always learn to find a common ground. And instead of saying, I am not arguing, I am just explaining myself. I understand we disagree, let's find common ground. Number 6, you always do this. Let's assume a person, your roommates, or somebody you stay with. That's the roommate, right? Let's assume, let me use the example for a roommate. Let's assume your roommate always goes out of the house with the key without leaving it where you're supposed to keep it, because you guys have one spare key. When you come back, you have to look for him or her or call the person and wait for them to bring the key to you, which would waste your time and probably cause you to lose on activities you were supposed to do, or stay out in the cold and freeze, whatever it is. Instead of, and the roommate comes back after waiting for him for an hour or 30 minutes or even 5 minutes is a long time to wait. What you should say of, instead of you always take the key with you when you leave, why don't you keep it for me? Or you always do this. One of the best things you should say is, I have noticed a pattern. Can we discuss ways to improve? Can we discuss ways to improve? Can we discuss ways to help you always remember to keep the key for me? Can we discuss ways to help you improve your early attendance to office activities? Whatever it is, can we discuss ways to improve? You get? Now, the last, which is number 7, I am right, you are wrong. You're arguing with somebody, and one of the parts of argument, one of the best things about argument is everybody wants to be right. It's like being a lawyer, right? It's like being a lawyer. The job, you pay a lawyer to go and prove in the front of a jury, in front of a judge, in front of everybody who's watching, that you are the right person, or the person with the right facts. Now, what a lawyer is, the job of a lawyer is to prove that I'm right and the other person is wrong. But you're not a lawyer. And in communications, you can't always communicate like a lawyer unless you're about to lose your life or your freedom, or you're about to lose your company or your job or whatever it is. In negotiations are advisably confrontational, but after negotiations, you have to come and hug and shake. It's advisable. So instead of saying I am right, you're wrong, one of the best things you should say is, I see it differently. Can we explore both perspectives? This way, you tell the person, I'm ready to see this situation from your angle, but I want you to also see it from my own point of view. Do you get? So I don't see, you might not be right. I might know that you're not saying what is true, but I want you to lay your guard down and see it from my own perspective. And I would also let my guard down and see it from your own perspective. Now, if there's anything you've learned from any of this, 7 ways to effectively communicate how you feel, is that communication is a clash, is always a clash or battle of ego between two people or more communicating. That's one of the most, that's one of the reasons communication is difficult, because our egos are always involved. And once you have your egos invested in communication, there's a high chance that you would make the other person feel bad or lose a friend or an ally. Now, without losing your self-esteem, without losing your respect, and without letting your ego get the best part, and without losing the friend, which is also the most important person, is you can master all of this, or even one, starting from today. One could be this, could be that, could be this. If you can master any of this effective ways to communicate, I assure you, you would notice improvements in your communication patterns and skills every day when you communicate with people. So, advise you to save this video, hit the subscribe button, and tell me what you think about this video, and if this has helped you in any way, let us know. And if there's anything you want us to make videos about, please, we would love to research and read and help you understand it better. I remain Panshak Jan, and I'm out. Thank you.